Hey everyone, Tucker here, and well, today is a special day. It's my birthday. But this isn't just any birthday. This is my 20th birthday, and I've been feeling more or less okay. I'm getting older. I feel it. Uh I notice a lot of things have changed like they normally should getting older. But one thing that I realized has not changed is my love for the G Man. Rocking the Godzilla shirt for today, man. And I decided just for today, because I missed November 3rd. November 3rd was Godzilla Day. So for the rest of this month, I want to make it Godzilla month. Just release some Godzilla videos. And then once that's done, no more Godzilla videos on my channel until next November. But the big thing I wanted to talk about is since I'm turning 20, I realize I find it more fitting instead of on November 3rd on Godzilla Day to tell you guys what Godzilla means to me today. So, I want to say what Godzilla means to me. So, I was a Godzilla fan from a very young age. I had a PlayStation 2 as a kid, and I had two Godzilla games for it. One was Godzilla Save the Earth, and one was Godzilla Unleashed. The only catch though is I never watched a Godzilla movie when I played those games. I had no idea who these characters were. Like the only thing I really knew was the 1998 Godzilla. But that's just because we had it on DVD. My family was just not into Godzilla in the slightest. But my brother was, because he's the one who got those games. But my story of Godzilla starts trickling down a little more. My first real Godzilla movie I never owned, but my brother got it for his birthday, I'm pretty sure. It was the movie Godzilla vs. Gigan. That was my first like real Godzilla movie, but I I didn't really care about what was the first real one cuz I got to watch a Godzilla movie now. One of the big catches though is that when that stuff was when I was watching it, like I was still like confused and stuff because I was a little kid. So I'm pretty sure like a toddler. If uh, I think I was starting to enter adolescence. I'll have to check the terminology of it for a second, but I was around like 5 or 6, so that's what that means. But when I was watching that movie, I just thought it was fun. Now, of course, over time, me and my brother we got more Godzilla movies, but the reason I wanted to talk about this is because for the longest time, it always felt weird because I was a Godzilla fan. I know, like, saying that now, it means nothing because, well, who's not a Godzilla fan? People are watching the movies. But I mean, like, way back, before 2014, 2012, maybe, 2011, I liked Godzilla. No one else knew who he was. No one cared. And, that can probably assume that, at least hopeful and understand that I was not cared about much at school because I liked Godzilla. No one else did. Now, will I say was that just a problem of me? Yeah, it was like not going to try to play the sympathy card on you guys because I liked Godzilla, but I wasn't trying to get into anything else kids are liking. Like, I know Pokemon craze is still going on in my school, so like, I didn't get into that. I think Beyblades became a thing at my school, and I was able to get into it, but I was just a Godzilla fan, and because of that, it was hard to connect with people because, well, one, we're kids, so w- do you really know guys how to talk to each other? But because we were all kids, like to be excluded from something just because of your interest is most likely normal because at least for me looking back on it in hindsight is probably maybe don't talk about it too much and people will come to you or do anything else. You can talk about it, but you gotta do like something else during recess just so yeah, people like do keep my I did have friends in school, so for me like I still had people to talk to. More likely they just didn't talk about Godzilla with me. And I think over time I started understanding it's like we can't talk about Godzilla everywhere because who knows what it is. Until 2014, everyone knew what Godzilla was. Now Godzilla is everywhere because that's when the 2014 movie came out. But because of that, all of a sudden people start asking me, it's like, how'd you think of Godzilla? What'd you think of it? What was it like? Well, for starters, I think the movie's just all right. But because of that, like it felt a little good because now everyone started caring about what you talk about. But I know my story with Godzilla goes like way later because then, like after 2014, like no other Godzilla movies come out. 2016, Japan released Shin Godzilla, and I never watched it in theaters because I didn't know it was coming to theaters. I got it on Blu-ray some point way down the line. I think the movie's all right. There was a Netflix anime trilogy. I tried watching the first one. I very much did not like it, and I just decided not to watch any of the others. After that, 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters came out, and that was better than 2014. But at that point, like Godzilla's more in hindsight, so people know Godzilla more. 2021's Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla's in full swing. Like everyone knows who Godzilla and some of the monsters are now. But to go back on that part I talked about previously about how no one really understood Godzilla, that possibly helped me become more of a Godzilla fan because of the people I watched on YouTube then. Because at this point, Godzilla was starting to rise in popularity on YouTube, and I was able to just find the right videos. Because for starters, one of the videos I watched was this month-long series from a YouTube channel called Cinemassacre. Every Halloween, they always do this usually the month-long review of a like called Monster Madness, and it was 2008, I'm pretty sure, that they released their Godzilla-thon. Every day was a Godzilla movie review, and that helped change my life. And that YouTube channel Cinemassacre is more widely known for their famous YouTube series, The Angry Video Game Nerd. And he made a Godzilla video talking about Godzilla video games, and that was pretty fun. And because of that, like I started liking a lot more Godzilla stuff because of it. Because all I knew was just those two games, and this was before Godzilla versus Gigan was before I ever watched it. So this YouTube channel was just everything for me. But another YouTube channel came by because even though Monster Madness, like, that was every Godzilla movie, reviewing like a short, small snippet, that only did so much for me. But there was this other YouTube channel that I remember watching a lot, and I have always been thankful that I found him because he has not just found my love for Godzilla. He did not help me discover it, but he helped me discover my love for other stuff like Ultraman. He talked about the Rampage games. He played War of the Monsters, and because of that, I was so fascinated to play it that I have it on my PS5 now. But since this has been such an amazing privilege to at least know him from watching his YouTube videos, I've decided to go completely insane and thought, why not? There's a small slither of a chance that I may get to tell him thank you. I did once. This YouTube channel he created a video because at one point he deleted his YouTube channel. He was not feeling it and he said like it is becoming too much of an obsession, and like just to abandon the channel is something he couldn't keep doing because he always wanted to go back to it, but it was like really consuming him. I think, like, lack of a better term, consuming him. But then he decided for the 10th anniversary of his YouTube channel, he was going to bring it back if there was enough fan outcry to have a comeback. And oh dang, forgot to turn off my phone. But there was enough fan outcry that he brought back the channel. He created an archive channel and then it created the new channel. But I was able to thankfully make a video for him telling him my gratitude. The only problem was the video had to be around a minute. But I don't think 1 minute would cut it. Because this YouTuber is worth a lot more than just a minute for me. He's worth so much time. So much so that I have thankfully been given the opportunity to have an interview with the YouTube channel that inspired me to become more of a Godzilla fan. And so, without a further ado, this has been somewhat of a lifelong dream of mine. And just for my 20th birthday, it's finally time I give this YouTuber thanks. I present to you an interview I conducted with Goji Fan 93. Goji Fan 93, you have created my childhood essentially. And just for this Godzilla day later, and on my birthday, I wanted to ask you some questions because with the amount of stuff you gave to me, I've always just wondered some things.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. Uh it's a nice little spike to my ego. No, I'm joking. But no, thank you for those words. Yeah, that makes me feel good that, I was able to, give you entertainment and just like hearing your and like how old were you? Like because you said childhood, so you're probably going to make me feel old.
So 2013, that's when you started
Yeah,
uploading Goji Fan, right?
2013. Yeah.
Like, all right. So I would have been, since I'm assuming it's going to be early in the year,
Mhm.
um, I'm going to assume eight.
Oh goodness. Wow. Yeah. And now how old?
If, uh, the day this will upload, I will be 20. So I'm 19 right
Wow.
now.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. Um, well, yeah, no, I'm happy I was able to be that for you. So,
I guess the first thing I want to ask, because I think this will be a smaller question compared to
Mhm.
the second one I have. is even though you're named as Goji Fan 93, so it's mostly a Godzilla type thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you feel any type of pressure or like uneasiness when you started uploading some Ultraman videos?
No, not at all. No, actually, to be honest, it was kind of early, like maybe like last year when I was trying to watch all the shows and I did like a live stream of giving my opinions on them. Uh, that probably was a little more pressure just because a lot more people since 2013 like have been getting into Ultraman and stuff, and there's been a few instances where certain you try to get to a different demographic, and if you don't know it too much, like obviously like super knowledgeable with Godzilla, but then if you try to get into a new um franchise and you're not well knowledgeable in it, but you still want to like talk about it, sometimes it's a little nerve wracking because you're like, oh man, people are probably going to be like, oh, you don't know anything. It's like, stop talking about it. Go back to your Godzilla people. You don't know anything about Ultraman. But even in the so I think like back then, I think I only did uh well, actually, the first big introduction were the games. Like when I did the Fighting Evolution games, I did those Let's Plays. Like that was really the big like introduction to the Ultraman universe, and I sort of learned the names and sort of the not really stories, but like what happened in some of the certain episodes through playing those games. But it definitely wasn't like super like educating on what really Ultraman was. And then I remember watching the original Ultraman series, like just the first one. Had like I bought the DVD of it, had all the episodes on it. I did a review on it, but I think if I watch that video again, it's probably really bad because I watched it like once, and I that was kind of it. And so I tried making a review of it, but there's so many more people that are way more obviously educated with the Ultraman franchise, but I feel like back then it wasn't as nerve wracking to talk about it because I think people were a lot more open to those kind of things. I think nowadays a lot more people are very I think it's just the internet culture that we're in right now, where if you get something wrong, then instead of them like correcting you in a nice way, they correct you in a very like, you're an idiot, you got it wrong, how dare you, go back and watch the show. Or they just like, you like don't even watch it, you just don't even deserve it or whatever. So yeah, I think back then people were a lot more nicer about certain things, because I remember even when playing all those Ultraman Fight and Evolution games, like a lot of people were telling me in the comments, they were like, oh yeah, this is this character, and oh, this was this certain scenario that would happen. These are these two characters, and so people were a lot more, I think, I want to say like approachable when you wanted to learn more about it. But I think nowadays, I even remember like when I did the live stream talking about my experience watching all the Ultraman stuff, and I say watching all the Ultraman stuff, but not like fully. I didn't watch every single episode of every single season. I sort of handpicked favorite, like my most favorite episodes or whatever, and I used the internet to give me like, here's like what the episodes that you can't miss. Like these are the essential episodes. And I still got some people that were like, yeah, you don't understand Ultraman. You should go back and rewatch everything again. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. But so yeah, I think trying to do it now would be nerve wracking. That's why I'm probably going to I'm like, no, I'll probably just stick with Godzilla. That's where I'm most comfortable with.
So that's always surprising because if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have gotten into Ultraman really.
That's
And
crazy.
well, I mean, this will all go in my second question,
Yeah.
but to help round off the first question, I'd say like I always really wondered about how you felt with Ultraman because a lot of the other games you played, like Rampage and War of the Monsters, even though it wasn't Godzilla, it was like
Mhm.
that weird tone where it's like it's not, but it's Godzilla,
Yeah.
and like there's always that similarity point that helped me get into them, but mostly because you were playing them. Because I know I didn't really watch your Earth Defender. What's it called, like Earth Defense
Earth
Force.
Defense Force. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I know that, and I can't remember because I don't know if I saw it, but I also didn't really look too hard. You were doing a let's play of the Attack on Titan game, right?
Yeah. I did the first Attack on Titan game back in, what was that, 2016, I think? Yeah.
Yeah, like, I remember you doing upload, and like I was trying to watch it, but then like I think you encountered like the Ape Titan, and I was like, I it's been a long while I watched Attack on Titan,
Yeah.
but my goal was I just wanted to watch it because you were doing it. Because at this point, like now it's more on YouTube. I was like, I kind of want to support these people now. I was starting to get into that mindset of maybe do it more for support instead of because I'm interested in it.
Yeah, there yeah. Yeah.
But on top of that, to go on with my second question, and since I said I'd try to keep this interview short, this is the
Yeah.
last question. Uh, so to help lay some groundwork, after 2004, there was just this dark period of Godzilla. Toho said no more movies,
Oh
like
yeah.
Final Wars is it, and it did too well, and it said it's not worth it now. Now, with hindsight, behind the scenes, someone was trying to make a Godzilla movie throughout it,
Mhm.
but to us, it was just nobody. But one person, I believe, I don't know if I want to like just sound like I'm really just praising this person, but when James Rolfe he made his Monster Madness of Godzilla-thon, I believe that helped created a whole new generation of Godzilla fans. But I don't think he did enough because he just talked about small segments of every Godzilla movie, so at least you know
Mhm.
what the movies were. Um, the second part, the person I actually think who helped like bring the Godzilla fans into the limelight and help create everything was you. So
Well, that's
so
a
my big
that's a
question
big title.
oh yeah. So my big question to you was, do you believe you helped bring Godzilla into the limelight with these dark ages? Because even though I talk about all this stuff, because I know other YouTubers made Godzilla stuff,
Mhm.
to me it was always interesting because like how you said with the Ultraman stuff, how they were willing to help you. You were in the know of Godzilla. So before I go on with that, I want to hear your response to the question.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, when it comes to like influence of how things were back then, I mean, I came in, I think, at the right time. It was, because Legendary already announced that they bought the rights to Godzilla, and people were already excited about that. And I think during those like what we call the dark ages from like 2004 to 2013, where there was literally like nothing for the franchise, I do want to say that I feel like some of the YouTubers that were in that time, I feel like I was at the I was at like the tail end sort of that dark age. I wouldn't actually credit myself to helping get the notoriety of the franchise out there to more popular, to more mainstream. I feel like people like Goji73, they started way earlier than I did, doing like the toy reviews and things. One of them that I don't, you know, um, because of controversy in the past, but one of them, Deadzilla, is one of the ones that he also was an original like Godzilla YouTuber, or one of the people that I think was like one of the first. There was like Ultraman Chronos. A lot. Funny enough, though, was a lot of toy reviewers. Like, like those were like the older ones. Samson West was another one that I think was like a classic of the the oldies. I'm trying to think of and obviously Angry Video Game Nerd was like his Godzilla-thon is still felt. I feel like the influence of that series of videos is still felt through today. I mean, you have a lot of people that basically mimic his opinions still to this day. There's a lot of things that I sort of disagree with now. I don't think it's as um relevant as it is. I feel like a lot of things have changed obviously over the years, and a lot of opinions on stuff. I think especially when it comes to like, for instance, like Godzilla 1998, like a lot of people are now getting more soft on the film than, but obviously back then, it was like the most hated thing ever. But um so I think that with my channel, again, coming in at the right time when 2014 was just about like, a year out of releasing, I think the reason, and I think I've always said this, but I think why my channel sort of took off during that time. Oh, I also Monster Island Buddies. I think he was another one that was sort of like a 2012 or something like that is when he got started. But I think it's because I just sort of did. I was kind of like variety of content, like you had like your toy reviewers, you had your video like movie reviewers, there weren't really at the time there wasn't really any like animations. I mean there was, but they were very few and far between, and you had maybe some analytical videos, but it wasn't as much as it is today. Like obviously analytical essay type videos are like all the rage nowadays. Almost everyone does them. But back then it really was just toy reviews and like movie reviews. That was really it. And the occasional like discussion here and there. But I think when what I did, the direction that I took was I just decided like, well, I'm just gonna do whatever. Like I'm just gonna do, you know, game reviews or let's plays, movie reviews, top 10 lists, let's like basically taking every little genre that YouTube had at the time and just putting a Godzilla spin on it. And I think that's what sort of, you know, spun the wheels or had the snowball effect with the channel. And also just having, you know, doing like vlogs and things and discussions and whatnot. And then also collaborating with a lot of YouTubers back then, I think was sort of helped the, I guess the viral nature of YouTube videos and sort of helping get that to like a more popular mainstream. But I think even, I mean, even like today, I mean, Godzilla is way more in the mainstream than even he was in 2014. I mean, back then it still sort of was this like, you don't really know if Godzilla's hitting the mainstream or not. I mean, the movie did very well in terms of box office and things, and it sort of, it definitely sparked interest in the franchise, but I don't think it hit that peak like we've seen last year, you know, like with -1 and then the New Empire, or even a few years ago with Godzilla versus Kong. Like those films I think have pushed, you know, tremendously that. And I think you know, a lot of YouTubers now in the last few years, like in terms of the Godzilla YouTuber base, you know, one thing is that I can't keep up with them now. You know, like it's obviously my channel's taken a back seat to a lot of it, but that's okay. I mean, it's sort of how the generations are. You know, like I said, I talked about like Goji 73, Deadzilla, Monster Round Buddies, like the older guys. Then sort of like my time, which was like you had me. Still Goji 73 was still around, but then like ETN, you know, was another YouTube channel that was sort of around that time. A lot of like, you know, even my friend Nico, like Plutonium 2356, you had Riv Travis back in the day. There was another friend of mine, Ultraman Gamrazilla, I think was his name or something like that. Ultramothra 1. I mean, there was like a bunch of YouTubers from like I would consider my time, you know, my circle of people that were around. D-Man 1954 started around 2014 as well. So like all of our like time was there. Oh, Louis Duran, that's another, you know, the big name and during that time. Now you have a lot of newer faces, you know, the next generation, I would say, and they are coming in during a time when Godzilla is everywhere. So of course, like when they're doing, whether it's, you know, discussion videos or animations, because animations now are everywhere, you know, like one of the most I would say prolific animators out there right now for Godzilla is Rano. I mean, he's like doing huge right now with his animations. I think Methlo Kaiju Fan, which is someone that I've worked with in the past with Kenshin Studios, you know, he does amazing animations which just rack up in a lot of attention and views. And of course, and then you still have some people from like the older guard who are still kind of relevant. I would say D-Man 1954 has been able to stay consistent and relevant just because of the fact that he's doing news updates all the time and he's keeping up with, you know, all of that stuff. Like I think that's why he's been able to continue, is just because he's stayed current. But I mean, there are a lot of people that I remember, you know, that aren't really, they're sort of like where I'm at, where we're not really super active at the moment, but we'll post a video here and there. Like I'm Rich Iso, you know, he's, you know, I pop in and out sometimes to check out his channel and I'll see like he'll post a video every now and then, but we definitely don't post like we used to. I mean, it's, you know, it's definitely like all of us have different things now going on in life, and so we don't have as much time, you know, but there are definitely this new generation that's now taking center stage, and they're doing, I mean, they're doing all kinds of stuff. It's all the essay videos, the analytical stuff. I think Goji Central is a big one right now. Godzilla Guy, I think that's another YouTube channel. Again, I don't know particularly like the current ones that are happening right now, but those are like names that are off the top of my head that I somewhat recognize. I think also what's his Firewood Media. I think he's another YouTube channel that's been sort of
Yeah.
taking off with doing analytical videos or whatnot. So I mean, and it's and the thing is to, and actually I've been experiencing it to a little bit of a way to compete with them. It's very difficult because they have such a huge following now, and basically when they make a video and they have a topic or whatever, it's very hard to sort of like, if once again when you're part of like us old folks and you're trying to sort of do what they're doing, it's really hard because again they have all this like, I feel like an old man, and to be honest, I feel like one of those old guys like, hey, get off my lawn, you kids with your new technology and all your editing and this and that, and you have time and stuff like that. So, but I think it's great. I mean, I think going back to your original question, I think that I would say I did. I I don't want to toot my own horn, but I do think that because of what I did with my channel back in the day in its prime, the way that I did things where it was a variety channel where I just did anything Godzilla related, I feel like that helped bring a lot of people into either doing their own Godzilla YouTube channel or just getting exposure to whatever thing it was. I have had, like you've said, I have a lot of people that did come up to me and email me or comments and say, "Yeah, I became Ultraman fan because of your Ultraman Let's Plays." And it's just funny to me because I didn't even talk about the actual show. It's more of the games, but again, that's what your background was. And then there were a lot of people that just flat out said, I didn't know what Godzilla was, but I saw one of your videos and then I got into Godzilla because of you. Like, that's really cool. War of the Monsters, like, was other EDF, there's all these things that I did and people got exposed to, and it was really great. So I wouldn't say that I got Godzilla into in terms of like mainstream audience stuff. I don't, that I feel like I didn't have that much power. I feel maybe the one time I got close to that point was the no trailer rant for 2014, because I do remember that video like getting pretty viral overnight. Like that one was a big, like, I did the video, went to bed, woke up the next day and saw like all these people were talking about it. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." That was probably like the one time I got close to like a very mainstream viral thing, but I think for the most part it was mostly just exposing people to a lot of different pieces of content with the Godzilla franchise and also some other kaiju and tokusatsu things in general. But I would say nowadays, again, the current generation, I think they have way more influence. Again, D-Man 1954, he's gone to what was it? He's gone to like the a few conventions in I can't remember exactly where, but he's actually been in contact with Toho and he's helped like put up their storefront in one of these conventions. Again, I don't remember the name of the convention, but so again, these YouTubers that are nowadays that are having these huge audiences, they are getting sort of the mainstream people to look at the franchise in a way. I mean, also Monster Island Buddies, again, I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he's like the number one subscribed Godzilla YouTuber right now. I'm pretty sure. I mean, his numbers are huge. I think also next to like Dangerville, I think they're like another channel that does like a lot of discussions and updates and things. But I'm pretty sure that a lot of the time they've had partnerships and sponsorships that get in with the mainstream stuff. So yeah, so I feel like for me it was more of a personal thing, less of the corporate media mainstream side, and more of just talking with people personally about, hey, this is what this cool thing is, go check it out, and then getting people exposed to that kind of stuff, and then having people become fans of whatever types of things that I would make videos of. So, which is pretty cool, the fact that I can say that. So yeah.
All right. So in that case, for me to rephrase my question, instead of do you think you put it into the spotlight, I'll re-say to me, you put it into the spotlight because even though I have seen all those other YouTube channels,
Hmm.
some of those names like those been a long time, like Goji 73 and
Yeah.
Ultraman Chrono. That was a flash from the past,
Yeah.
but it made me realize. without all of them, if it wasn't for you, I don't think I would have gotten real big into Godzilla because, not just to put myself down a bit, I wasn't too smart as a kid because I had Save the Earth and Unleashed on the PS2. Uh, I thought there was just two distinct Godzillas. I thought
Oh,
Godzilla 2000s
I
and
see.
90s were just two separate characters the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yep. I can
And
see
uh,
that.
and so with the help of your let's plays and you talking about a lot of this stuff, and also my brother who was since he was older than me, he remembered watching movies on the sci Godzilla movies on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Hmm.
So he was able to tell me stuff, but I was just so out of the blue in all this until I can't remember what video I watched of yours, but whatever it was, like it was just right into the zeitgeist of I know Godzilla now, and
Yeah.
I truly, it is you I have to thank for it because if it wasn't for you, I may have gone like way later down the line in Godzilla, and
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably right now when he's like super mainstream. You definitely would have heard of him by now.
Oh, yeah, the big time heard it because I know if it wasn't for you, a lot of times when I was in school, I'd always talk about Godzilla and Ultraman as well, and it was all you I had to thank. I don't think I was able to do shout outs back then because I really didn't care to, but you really knew how to put me in with this knowledge of Godzilla and all these things that whether or not people liked me for being the Godzilla kid, that was a different story. But being on your YouTube channel, it just seemed like you were so knowledgeable of it. And if I really needed information on Godzilla, it was most likely your channel that I can go to easily.
Wow. I would not give myself that much credit, but thank you.
So that's a big thank you. And even though I said I only gonna ask two questions, I just thought of a third question top of my head.
Oh
This
yeah,
should be
no, I mean
fast.
this is your time.
Oh yeah. I will say for my final question to you, what is your biggest Godzilla pet peeve? It could be like a movie, like a
Oh,
fandom,
no,
or
I
just
know.
a general piece with Godzilla.
I have an answer instantly. It's the power
All right.
scalers. I can't stand power
Oh,
scalers. I can't. Like, who would win? This guy or this? Like, it's fiction, guys. You can write it, and the. I mean, I always thought about like you can have a thing where it's like you can have Destroya versus Mina, right? And you could write it in a way where Mina wins. Just because it's how it's fiction, it's not real, so you can make up whatever you want. Yeah, no, power scalers. I'm not afraid to say that. I think ever since I've had a big pet peeve with Death Battle from Screw Attack for like the longest time, and I think it wasn't until they did the Godzilla versus Gamera video way back in the day, and I think like ever since then, you just have this subset of people that are obsessed with calculating and figuring out these like okay they have this ability and then they can do this and they put math into it and they do, like they try to make it this most as if it was real and I'm thinking like guys this isn't like Deadliest Warrior. Do you remember that show Deadliest Warrior?
uh, it's weird. I remember a lot of old stuff, but it gets iffy. Oh, dang. So it appears I might have 9 minutes left for
Oh yeah, I do see that,
this Zoom call.
but we
Okay.
can
So
always do another one.
no,
But
no,
no,
so
Deadliest Warrior was a show where they did what Screw Attack does, but Deadliest Warrior did it for like actual real armies and different sort of warriors in history's time, and they would look at like this the weapons they would use and the tactics and all that, and it would make sense because they would use a computer to make an algorithm to like have them fight 1,000 times or whatever in a simulator, and then they would say here's who would really win if this was a thing. But that was cool because it was actually based on historical evidence of these whatever armies or certain warriors or back in the day. But it's like again these power scalers with these fictional characters, I just find it's like hilarious at first, but then it gets to a point where it's like you can't have fun anymore with these characters. Like if you're like for doing like fan films or something or fan fiction, oh my god, like if you try anything that is unorthodox or whatever with a certain character, then everyone's just going to be like, that's not true. That's not what would happen. That's, oh no, Godzilla would do this. And I'm like, guys, like, just can we have fun? Like, come on. So, yeah, no, power scares. That's my biggest pet peeve. Is yeah, the who would win arguments. Yes.
So I don't know if a lot of people share the same pet peeve of mine, but I've really been noticing it when I hear people. I've been watching some Godzilla YouTubers when they say it's like when they're filming the movies, they're trying to make it realistic. My biggest pet peeves are thumbs,
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 like on the.
because well, when you're so like on the monsters, one thing I noticed is like when they're trying to say it's realistic, like I can get behind giant lizard, breathes fire.
Mhm.
There would be no reason it would have thumbs.
Oh,
That's more of a mammal trait. So I can understand like Kong and King Caesar and like Sandra Guy or Frankenstein having thumbs. If you're like dinosaur base or insect base, they don't really have it. But
huh.
like Godzilla, Rodin, and Anguirus, I was able to get behind them walking on their knees in the Showa era. It makes no sense why they have thumbs.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never heard that one before. I've never thought of that. No, that's a new one.
I don't know because I've been noticing how like since Godzilla's going all CG and like
Hmm.
with Suitmation, it was a little more understandable why they have thumbs. Like actors, they have thumbs, but when you
Right.
do like CGI, uh, there's not
Because
really a
they got the
use for
claws and
thumbs.
his thumbs are yeah.
So thumbs to me has always been a pet peeve of mine with CGI. More recent years, I've been able to get over Suitmation having it, just saying like I'm sure because I know the short films they make now, that's a Godzilla Final War suit.
Yeah.
So like obviously they're not going to make a new suit just for thumbs,
Right, right.
but I'm like, if they were to make new Suitmation movies, which is a big cross my fingers and probably never happen,
I know.
uh, I hope they don't include thumbs on at least reptile creatures. I've been more open to like aliens having thumbs.
Okay, yeah, that is a new one. I did not. Is there like a rabbit hole of like on Reddit or something about this?
No, I just thought about it one day because someone is saying like real Godzilla is like not realistic. I'm like,
Mm,
yeah, I know, like giant dinosaur makes sense.
yeah.
And they're trying to list all these things. Like, well, what about the thumbs? Like he doesn't have a use for thumbs. And then because of that, I started going on like a big spiel and like kept doing research. Like, what on this earth have thumbs? Because I thought it was just primate stuff. Apparently, raccoons have. I can't remember if this is true, but I don't know if chameleons have a thumb-like structure.
Hmm.
But once I heard that, I was like, could Godzilla have thumbs then? If chameleons have thumbs?
I mean, yeah, I believe. I mean, he's got to grab things in some of the movies, so he has to have some thumbs. So I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah, no. So whatever it is, like, I have a strong feeling they don't care too much about the thumbs.
yeah, it's probably
But
a minor.
yeah, but as of right now, just to wrap this all up, I want to say Goji Fan 93, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for helping me become the Godzilla fan I am today. And even if other people may not think that you were the one that was that catalyst to bring Godzilla's presence on the internet, personally for me, if it wasn't for you, I would just wouldn't have found a lot of Godzilla stuff. And again, also from me, I just don't know how Godzilla would be a bigger influence than it is now. Because like how you're saying, a lot of those toy reviewers and very because I know some of the old movie reviewers I did, if they weren't trying to like parody the nostalgia critic a bit.
Hmm.
It was just they talked about the movie and like didn't have footage of it. Which even though you did that,
Yeah,
something about you just to help support your YouTube channel. I was like, I'll just let the no footage pass and I'll just listen, you watch it, and then thinking about back to it now, I was like, man, that did help me a little bit when I started doing some God Godzilla stuff because sadly, 'cause I know you said you had a pet peeve with power scaling stuff. I
Yeah.
made a video saying like who will win, like Godzilla or Kong, but like, I didn't go into power scaling stuff. I just like
Right.
would it really matter in the long run? So in the grand scheme, I'd like to say thank you for your time, Goji Fan 93, and thank you for doing this interview with me because
Mhm.
this truly means the world. And even though it's sad that I waited till I was 20 just to do this interview, I'm at least glad I got to do it now at this point where I can confidently say that all the opinions I have about Godzilla, but that all the opinions I have with you in the Godzilla fandom. So I don't know if other people will say it, but I like to say, from me and um, just me, thank you so much for help making my childhood and help getting me into things I like now. And I hope that Godzilla still is good for you as it
Oh
is
yeah.
for me.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Really do. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the interview I conducted with Goji Fan 93, and thank you for watching this video. I'm assuming, as you can tell, Godzilla means a lot to me, and this YouTube channel does mean a lot to me too. So, I put his link in the description so you can go check out the channel that helped create my childhood a bit. And thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. I'm going to try to make more Godzilla videos before November ends, just to help celebrate Godzilla's 70th anniversary. And till then, I'll see you next time. Tucker, out.